When he told me he was 17, I said, fuck it. Here's Tony's email address, try him. You often see these questions being asked. What would a visitor from outer space about such and such a thing? Or what would a visitor from outer space think about Ireland, Irish society today, for example, or whatever. During the week there I had a consultation with a gentleman who is a newcomer to Ireland, and he intends living here, buying a house, settling down, starting a business, employing people, and so on. And he wanted a discussion, consultation, a high-level consultation or high-level view of a number of issues. And it was very useful to have the conversation, not just for him but for me, because it forced me to think about certain aspects of Irish society, Irish life and so on. He was inquiring, for example, about the taxation system, and I explained my view about it, and that was, despite the significant amount of complaining and whinging and whining you'll see online and elsewhere about the Irish tax system being unfair or anti-work, anti-labour, anti-business, anti-take-your-pick, despite that, international bodies recognised and respected. International bodies, when looking at taxation systems in the EU, in the OECD and worldwide, will place Ireland very high up in tax systems which are progressive and fair. So that's an external body or bodies taking a view that Ireland's tax system is progressive and not draconian, not unfair, and that there were reliefs and exemptions and so on that you could avail of as well, depending on your circumstances. Another thing he was asking me about was the police on Garda Síochána, and he said with some degree of suspicion that he felt the Gardaí that he had met were very friendly. And I said, yeah, that's really a big deal. I said, and that's not really put on or false either. Irish guards, Irish people are generally welcoming and friendly, especially to strangers and especially to people looking for help or assistance. So I also explained about the legal system, because he was inquiring about the legal system, and I was explaining that it's a common law legal system based on a similar common law as the system in Great Britain, Canada, Australia and elsewhere. But despite the fact that the roots of the legal system in Ireland are similar to the UK, the approach of the courts and the approach in respect of prosecution of crime and sentencing for crime is different, because I explained you will find a far more strict, rigid application of the law in the United Kingdom than you will in Ireland. That we have plenty of laws on the statute books and similar laws to the UK, but our approach or attitude to the law is slightly different, and sometimes I describe it as aspirational. In other words, the written word and the written statute the written law in the books isn't often consistently applied across the board. And that's just the way it is. It probably reflects a different personality, a different culture, a different society. Irish society is certainly different from UK society in many respects, and certainly in relation to the application of the law. We discussed property and other stuff as well, but that's some of the things that I would tell a newcomer to Ireland, and it might be useful for other people who are thinking about coming to Ireland, other newcomers. I also met a young man who came here from abroad and has a very good education and had a job in a professional office environment, and basically was terminated shortly after passing probation. And unfortunately, because he or she doesn't have 12 months service, he can't bring a claim for unfair dismissal. But I did explain that he really should have appealed the decision, because if he goes to the Workplace Relations Commission not having appealed, then I think an adjudicator will take the view that, well, they'll take an adverse view. If you want justice, if you want your job, you want to be reinstated or re-engaged, you really should appeal internally first, even if you think it's a futile exercise and is bound to fail. I believe you have to go through the motions. And finally then, I had a call or an email from a lad, again from outside Ireland, not an Irish person, outside the jurisdiction. He's a follower of mine, a fan of mine on YouTube, and he was asking me to get him a warehouse job, a letter for a warehouse job. And he obviously had some basic understanding that if he wanted to come to Ireland, then one of the best ways would be with or pursuant to a work permit, and so he wanted me to try to help him get a work permit. Now obviously I'm a solicitor and I do law stuff. I'm not a recruitment agency, and I couldn't really help him. But I said, look, I can't really help you. You need to get the offer yourself, etc. And then he came back to me and he told me he was 17 years of age and he was from Bangladesh. And when he did, I thought of a friend of mine, Tony, and I gave him Tony's email address. And I said, here, this fella might be able to do something for you. And if he can't, then you might know somebody who can. Now I know there's a lot of talk and strong emotions in Irish society in the last while about international protection applicants, refugee applicants, and them, some of them being accused of being economic migrants. That may be fair comment to a certain extent, but it can't be fair comment for all of them, because some of them are genuine refugees and some of them are genuinely fleeing persecution. This fella that contacted me didn't say he was fleeing persecution, didn't say he was looking for international protection. This lad was looking for a job, and I have no apology to make, quite frankly, about trying to help him, because it could be my son or my daughter if I was unlucky enough, unfortunate enough to be born in a society that is unable or unwilling to provide jobs for his people and so on. And I can imagine many Irish people down through the years trying to get a break, trying to get a start in London, in Kilburn, in Cricklewood, in New York, in Boston, etc. So even though this lad was not a refugee, he didn't claim to be one, he wasn't seeking international protection. He wanted a bloody job to advance himself. When he told me he was 17, I said, fuck it. Here's Tony's email address, try him. I hope he catches a break. This journey that I do, it's about 30 kilometres. I go over to Kinnegad, out the Derry Road, swing left, back round up to Clorinka, coming up to Clorinka Church now. But the great thing about this particular spin is the climbs. There are some massive climbs on it, really, really good. This is one because it's steep and it's long. And there's another one now in about 3 minutes. So this is Clorinka Church. It's just up here on the left hand side. We're passing it now. School here as well. Primary school. Well regarded. There's a church in there. The other great climb now on this route is here. This is the second one. It's at Claremont. I think it's Claremont or Claremont. Not sure the name of the hill, maybe it's just Claremont Hill. Which is a tough one as well. Very difficult. Very, very steep. Not as long as the other one, but very steep. It really takes it out of the legs when you get home. Walking kind of funny. And I'm up in the saddle, or standing out of the saddle now. I'll be standing out of it, practically up, I guess, on top of this because it's the only way to get up. That's the right bloody gear though. First, going down the far side here, it's a great thrill. But geez, if you came off, you'd give yourself some fall. Come on. Did this yesterday. I did it Saturday. Today is the third day in a row. It's a long weekend. June, bank holiday weekend. Get to the top now. Oh. Then it's all down here, down Claremont. Shit, car coming. This house here has fabulous views. That's over the countryside. Here we go. Downhill now. Be interested to see what speed I get up to going down here. I don't have a speedometer on my bicycle, but I might buy one just for the fun. It's a great thrill coming down there now. Serious bloody thrill. This down here now is Tandervee Crossroads, also known as the Mill Pond. Down here is the crossroads.